It's yet another beautiful morning, and of course, welcome to One on One. My beautiful name is Sheilah Kahunde, and of course, this very morning, I'm humbled and honored to have some beautiful ladies who'll be introducing themselves. But wait a minute. 2026, 2025, the elections are on. The ballot paper will be right in front of you. It is your choice to vote who you feel will be the next president. And of course, we'll be on the polling stations voting. And also some other thing is we have been traversing the country with His Excellency, the President of Uganda, whereby he's, campaigning and of course telling people that if you vote me, this is what will happen. But if you look at what he has done, I think we need to give him a vote. We don't need to give him a doubt of a benefit, but we need to give him a vote. But anyway, welcome aboard. Once again, my beautiful name is Sheilah. And today morning, something that really touched me is when you're driving. I think some parents, when you're driving and you're coming to work, there are some children that some people carry. They have, I think, a problem with their heads, but these children have a hospital in Mbale. But it really beats my understanding how a parent can get a kid out of hospital and bring the kid to the streets to beg for money. Yes, sometimes things may not be working well, but I think we need to give respect to these children that have a problem. We need to give them respect. We ought to, love them. We don't need to bring them on the streets to keep on asking for money when we have a hospital that we can take them to. Well, this morning I'm honored once again and humbled to be joined by two beautiful ladies, and today we're going to talk about parenting. Well, parenting is broad, and the way I parent is not the same way you, our viewers, do parent. We all parent differently, and of course some parents give punishments. Recently I was talking to my sister and she told me we have an auntie. When this he has about like 5 children, so when these babies commit a crime, that's how I would say, or if they disturb, you know what happens? This lady wakes up at 5 a.m. in the morning, wakes up these children and tells them, I'm going to beat you. What kind of parenting are we doing? Is that the right way to parent? Why wouldn't you punish a child immediately they have done something? Why would you wait for them to sleep and you wake them up at 5 a.m. to punish them? Well, all that, we're going to be talking about it. And also, we're going to be talking about children who have different problems. There's some children who can't write, there's some children who can't speak. I don't know if I term them as do we call them autistic? I don't know, but I do have experts this morning that are going to be explaining to us how we can, take care of our children and how we can parent both mentally, spiritually, and of course physically. Sometime I was telling my guest that when my little baby disturbs me, I normally put her in a corner and tell her that corner there has a cockroach, and in case you disturb me again, I'm going to make sure that cockroach is going to eat you. But of course, these are the things that we keep on doing, and we want our babies to grow up and know that when I do something, I put in a naughty corner. And of course, there's no baby who loves a naughty corner, because one, you're grounded, you're not going to look at your favorite cartoons on TV, you're not going to play with your favorite, you're literally seated, you're like in prison. So parenting is different. But I'm glad and honored to be joined by Renee, Brenda, and we're going to be talking about parenting. And of course, we're talking about children. We don't care at what age that we are going to be talking, but all we can say, we're talking about parenting. Hi, where do I start from? Brenda, one, I love your hair.
Thank you.
I love your earrings. I love your earrings. Well, today morning, before you came, Dev and Renee told me, oh my God, Sheilah, you look beautiful. I told them, yes, I'm ready for the show. So I think it's once in a while that, I get to dress up like this. But on other days, I'm in my sweatpants, I'm in my jeans, I'm in here. Oh yeah, my friend. Those things have, yeah. But good to see you, Brenda. Introduce yourself to our dear viewers out there.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brenda Nagai Opule. I am married. I've been married now coming to 12 years. I have 3 sons. I've moved with 2 of them. They're in studio with me, and they're excited to see their mama on screen. I am many things, but today I will speak just a few. I'm a teacher by profession. And aside from that, I am a homeschooling teacher. I have homeschooled my children and also other children for about 7 years now. My oldest is in grade 5, he's going to 6. My next is in grade 1, and the littlest is 3 years. He's in play school. But I do that. I also am a coach as well. I coach teachers and train them on how to creatively teach, how to not to just stand in front of a classroom and write on the board, but to have a more creative approach. Say maybe role playing or practical projects, using practical projects to teach different concepts. So I coach under the Aga Khan Foundation as well as Madrasa Institute of Education, Teaching and Training of Teachers. At the same time, I also have a homeschool at home and I run it with my husband. And most importantly, we are believers, we believe in Jesus Christ, and we raise our children to love the Lord. We raise them to, first and foremost, understand that it's the most important thing is to have a relationship with God, and the rest follow after that. So even our day, the daily routine that we have at the homeschool, actually it's called Sheilah International Homeschool. We start with devotion, and we share the word of God, we have praise and worship, and then we start our day. So the little ones have learned that the first and most important thing is to have that close relationship with God. Then you can run your day after that. And for me and the boys, it has been a great anchor for us. The homeschooling journey is not easy because it's something a little bit strange, it's different. But for me, the Lord called me to it. I was teaching in public school. I was teaching at Vine International Christian Academy for many years, and the Lord called me out. I had a cushy job. It was nice. The place was excellent. It's beautiful. And God told me, you need to start at home. You should see how my home looked. It looked terrible. Yeah, I told God, I don't know how to teach in a school that has no swimming pool. I don't know how to teach in a place that doesn't have a van and doesn't have a... But you know, my husband was very encouraging to me. He's very entrepreneur, minded. And he's worked in all kinds of places. So he knew how. He told me, that's simple. Let's just start. We shall do it together. And we've been going well ever since. And we began with our own children. My vision was to teach my children. But every time they would interact with other children, my friends would say, where do they go to school? They're confident, they're open, they speak to adults like as if they're not scared of them. They're creative, and I tell them, I homeschool them. And then they ask me, can I give you my child as well? Can I give you my child? And I said, Lord, is this what you want for me? But God said, yes, do not say no. This is your mandate. And the Lord told me as well, I will send my children to you, the ones you will nurture for me. Right now I have about 17 of them, and they are going strong. They're amazing. If you met them, I would love you to meet them. They are a force to reckon with. They have the light of Christ shining through them clearly.
That's nice. Well, good to see you, Brenda. And of course, to the beautiful lady in the middle, you introduce yourself to our dear viewers.
My name is Renee Byers, and I am a homeschooling mom of 4. My oldest is almost 13. I have an 11-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 6-year-old. So they are in grade 7, 6, 4, and first grade. And we have been homeschooling from the very beginning, and a main part of that is because we are believers in Jesus Christ, and we wanted to give our kids a foundation for them to understand that all wisdom, all knowledge comes from God. And in the secular school system, that is not listed as the foundation of learning, but we believe that because God created all things, because He is the ruler of all things, that we should base the foundation of our learning on Him. He is truth. And so as we're studying the world, as we're studying history, He is the basis of all of that. And so that was one of the main reasons. Other reasons as well. In the United States where we come from, it's not possible to educate your children in the public school system unless they have their full range of vaccinations. And several of our children had bad reactions to their initial vaccinations. And so we chose not to vaccinate them anymore and then homeschool them. So that was another reason why.
All right, now we're talking about parenting.
Yes.
And when we talk about parenting, it's something that is broad, wild, and big. I don't know. The way you parent is not the same way that I'm parenting. It's not the same way that Brenda is parenting. So I'll start with you, really. We all have children.
Yes.
What is the right way of parenting our children?
I think the foundation of parenting is to teach your children to know and to love God. I think that is the foundation of it. If our children know that they are created in the image of God, if they know that they were created before the foundation of the world for good works that God has prepared for them, then that gives them purpose. It gives them meaning. If they know that they are unconditionally loved, that they don't have to perform in a certain way in order to be loved or cared for, to be valuable, that they're valuable because God created them, and also because Jesus Christ died on the cross for them, then that gives a foundation. That is their self-esteem. Their self-esteem is rooted in something that cannot change. And so I think that the basis of parenting should be teaching our children that they are created in the image of God, that they are valuable, that they are loved, and that they have a purpose in life. And when they understand that they have a purpose, beyond themselves, then they start to go, okay, how can I live out that purpose and have that greater meaning in my life that God has intended for me to have?
All right, Brenda, parenting. Parents, give different punishments to their children. As we were starting the show, I gave you an example of an auntie. When the children do, something that is not pleasing, she lets them sleep and then wakes them at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. And she's like, you guys, I'm going to beat you. Is it the right way of parenting our children? Waking them at 5 a.m.?
Well, I don't want to say there is a right or wrong way to parent your children. I believe, just like homeschooling, as parents, we have a mandate to raise our children for the Lord and in the right way. And the Bible is our basic foundation. And the Bible says, Renee will say the scripture, she's good at keeping the scripture in mind, but what I know it says is, discipline should be based on love. Should come from a place of love. And personally, I read a lot, and one thing I know about behavior, there's nothing like misbehavior. Behavior speaks. Behavior communicates. So when your child is misbehaving, we call it misbehaving, but I don't want to use the term miss. If my child suddenly starts screaming on top of his voice and running around and creating a fracas, and I specifically ask them to keep a low volume, all of a sudden there, I need to understand first, before I say, I told you to keep quiet, you refuse to keep quiet, so you're going to be punished. First and foremost, find out why are they
screaming.
And then, if you find out they were trying to communicate something, I just didn't know how to communicate it, then you need to address that first. My friend Renee usually says, teach before you discipline. Train before you discipline. She has amazing steps that she shared with me. She said, first, teach something, then do it with the child.
With the child.
And then lastly, ask the child to do it with you. For example, my firstborn, Israel, he's called Israel. He's very high energy. And by the end of the day, he's been doing a lot of schoolwork. We're using the Cambridge curriculum. So it needs a lot of thinking, creativity, brainstorming. And by the end of the day, he is bouncing off the walls. He's very high energy. He's one of my special learners' children. And so he does something that usually drives his father really crazy. He starts running all over the place and bouncing all over the chairs and, tickling every child. There are many children at our home school, some sleep over. So when he starts tickling every little child, everyone starts jumping all over the place, everyone starts to bounce all over the walls, and then, you've been teaching all day, you are exhausted. The first thing you're going to say,
babies to sleep.
Yes! You're going you know what, guys? If I hear one more sound out of you, detention, all of you. But then again, think again. What does this child need? think and understand this child. They've been working all day. They've been, imagine a long ride. You've been sitting in a long ride. The other day, my friend Renee drove straight from Fort Portal to Kampala. And I asked her, how did you feel when you arrived? She's like, wow, my body is, there's that need you have. That's how
like
that
a massage?
Like to stretch.
To stretch.
Now, that's how our children feel when they're from school. Or when they've had a long week, they've had an exam week, they've had pressure at school, the teachers are telling them, if you don't bring the homework, if you don't do this, if you don't. So by the time they get back to you on the weekends, that's the time they will just go, for lack of a better word, crazy. But mostly the more pressure they face out away from you, the more they will act out before you. And remember, as a family, as the parents, we are their safe place. So some children will just cry, others will shout, others will run around, others will pinch, others will just do stuff. And because of that, you need to read and understand, what does this child need? What is their behavior communicating to me? What do I need? Do I need to help model for them how to regulate? There's something called emotional regulation. We have not learned how to do that for ourselves. We don't know how to teach our children how to emotionally regulate themselves.
Brenda, let me ask you something, and Renee, do these babies get stressed out?
Absolutely.
Do the babies also go through depression?
Yes, very much so. And so you need to have the eye that can tell, this is not, my child is, yes, at this point they're acting out, they need to expend their energy. So what I do with my first child, my husband and I just purchased a trampoline, a small one. And so whenever he has that extreme, that energy that is, we tell him, you know what, go jump it off about maybe 5 minutes. And usually by the time he's done, he's calm. Or get your bike, take a ride around the neighborhood. Come back after 10 minutes. By the time he comes back, so he has now learned to have these
stressful relief.
Yes, stress relievers or self-regulators by himself, because we have modeled them for him. But if we just keep saying, keep quiet, you have to keep quiet, it doesn't help. This child will start to digress and start to actually play worse games. There's a time when I had lost it. At that point, I wasn't even remembering what I should do. So I keep telling him, Israel, keep quiet, keep quiet, keep quiet. So he started to go behind the house and just get rocks and start crushing them against each other, against the wall, and we would find the whole place messed up. And I'm thinking, oh wow, goodness, Brenda, check yourself. What is this child saying? So by the time before you send that child to a naughty corner should be a place to help a child to
calm down.
And I prefer to call it time in, not time out. Sit with your child in that naughty corner.
Talk to them.
Sit with them and then help them to talk to them. Maybe sing a song they like your daughter was singing.
Yeah.
Very nice song.
I think she got a song from school that goes, I've got joy, joy. And the way she's singing, I've gotten joy, joy.
Yes.
Is meanwhile, she's, on top of her voice, and you're like, Chanel, I am not ready to, sing and compete with you. She's like, no. My teacher told me sing like this.
But they don't know how to communicate properly, so you need to be able to interpret what they're actually saying. Possibly, she's trying to connect with you. She's bringing her world to you. My teacher said, sing this way. And you are tired, you have had a long day, and you're like, goodness, I can't do this now. But, pick out 2 minutes of your time and just connect. I like Renee, my friend, she does that a lot with her children. I see her getting time. She gives an extra long hug. Sometimes she just, looks them in the eye and connects. That connection empowers them to somehow synchronize that dysregulation and helps them to regulate themselves. Most importantly, as parents, we need to self-reflect. Look at yourself. Did you ever learn how to regulate yourself? If not, ask the Lord to help you. Read, research, start to train yourself. When you start to regulate yourself, you will be a much better parent as well.
All right, Renee,
Yes.
I will still ask you the same question that I did ask Brenda. Where you're talking about children. At one point, my 5-year-old walked up to me and told me, I am stressed. And I'm like, Brother, I'll beat you. African way of training. She's like, no, this house is stressing me. I look at her again. She walks away. She comes back. She's like, I'm stressed. I think she's trying to give you a point, for you to sink, let it sink in your head that I'm not doing well. But I ask myself, a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old, what would be the problem? Why would they feel stressed?
They might feel stressed because
But do they even get stressed?
I think they do. Yeah. If they are encountering something that they don't understand, that could cause them stress.
Yeah.
You know, I think sometimes if they feel big emotions and they don't know what to do with their emotions, they can feel stressed. And I think sometimes your children, I know my children sometimes, they feel something inside and they don't even quite know what it is. But if I will talk to them and I interact with them and go, okay, so what is happening in your mind, in your heart? And I ask them questions, sometimes I can help them discover what they're feeling inside. I think my number 3 daughter, who is my most active, my most energetic daughter, child, she walked in a couple of weeks ago and there was just this heaviness and this sadness on her, and I was like, sweetheart, what is the matter?
Is that Faith?
Yeah. And she said, I went to the grocery store with Daddy and we were supposed to stop and he told me he would take me to get ice cream and we didn't get ice cream, and I know he's busy, but will I ever get to have ice cream with Daddy? And I was able to go comfort her and reassure her of, you know what, today wasn't the day, but that will happen. And then I talked to my husband and said, you really need to make sure that you take this girl back to ice cream.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Will that stress up a kid?
Of course.
Yes. Yes, because they have, especially if they're looking forward to something and they've built it up in their mind, I think a lot of, even as adults, a lot of how we feel is based on our expectations.
Yes.
So if I expect to be able to do something and then I'm not able to do it, I'm very disappointed. But if I am not expecting something and then it doesn't happen, then I'm fine. And so for children, if they have the promise of something or they're excited about something and then they don't get to do that, then they can be very, very sad, very emotionally
disturbed.
Yes. And so I think for us as parents, you know, the keeping tabs of what is going on in their minds helps us to help them to, like you said, regulate of, okay, you know, I'm feeling very bad right now about something or the other, but is there something that we can do to solve this? Okay, my older brother is, my older son sometimes plays roughly with my younger son, and sometimes he'll come and crawl up into my lap and go, big brother, doing this to me.
That happens to mine a lot as well.
Yes, and so I can comfort him and say, you know, I don't think your brother really understood that this was going to make you unhappy. Let's go talk to brother and ask him not to do this anymore. Yeah. And then they can work on that relationship, and then the little one feels a lot better. And so I think a lot of parenting, it is training. It's helping our children learn how to gain skills that they will need in adulthood. And that's not just, okay, they're learning how to do the dishes, they learn to make their beds, they learn to, you know, do laundry, they learn to do schoolwork, but it's also they're learning how to have positive, healthy relationships with other people. So that's with their father and I, that's with their siblings, that's with their friends. Our 4. So we can help them learn those skills. We can help train them of, okay, you've been disappointed in this relationship, how do you handle that? You've been, someone has hurt you, how do you address that?
Well, you've talked about hurting. One time my baby comes back from school and she tells me, there's a baby that keeps on bullying her, you know. I tell her, really? Then one time I told her, you know what, Chanel, go back to school and beat that baby. And she looked at me. I told her, go back to school and fight. You can also fight. So guess what happens? I think after some time, the baby kept on bullying her, and she just got the baby in the corner and struggled this kid. And you know, something funny is now the teachers report to me. And I also report back to the teachers. I'm like, but when my baby was being disturbed, what were you people doing? So I don't know if that is the right way of parenting, of telling her, go and fight back. Because, you know, it is something that you also have hands. So why wouldn't you beat back? I don't know if I did the right thing, but from that time, she has never been bullied at school. So Brenda, that one question goes up to you. What would you do in that scenario, just in case your child comes back from school and they tell you, there's a baby that keeps on bullying me, there's a baby that, as a parent, you'd be like, you know what, go back and fight. Would that be the right way of training up a child?
Well, you have to look at the bigger picture. Because like my friend Renee said, we are preparing our children for lifelong relationships, lasting relationships. Yes, many times we want a quick solution that can give you the most satisfying results that can satisfy your feelings of, I'm hurt, I must hurt back. I'm being disrespected, I must disrespect back. That is the worldly standard, and it causes a lot of trouble. It has caused a lot of trouble. Actually, children who have been allowed to grow like that are the ones who are causing wars as adults, because they do not know how to resolve conflict. Now, conflict resolution is a very important skill that many of us have not been exposed to. As we teach our children to protect themselves, we need to teach them to do it respectfully. There are steps that can be taken. If my child came home and said, I'm being bullied by this child, I will have, this is a teaching moment for my child. I'll talk to them and ask them, tell me about this child. Where do they come from?
Yes.
Do they have any other friends? What do they eat? What do they have? And so I will start to help my child look deeper beyond the bully. What is behind? Actually, most bullies are cowards. All bullies are cowards.
Yes, true.
So what's behind this bully? As I'm raising my children to serve the Lord and to be a blessing. The Lord told me, your children, the ones I'm giving to you, you're raising them to be the salt of the earth. All right? So the way we nurture them must help them to relate to people in a way that they bring Christ. And that also reflects back to them. It's not that they're becoming victims, no. Actually, they are learning to be really solid and grounded. So when we talk about this child, we learn what are their friends' names, what do they like, what are their favorite colors. And so, of course, my child Brave will always say, Mom, why are you asking me all these questions? This person is annoying me. And I'll tell him, I would want you to understand who this person is, so we can know how to keep you safe from them. So next step, let's talk about this child. If they don't have any friends, we can find out, can we talk to the teacher about them? First and foremost, let the child talk to an adult before taking matters into their own hands, because that is a problem we have in our country right now. People take justice in their own hands and they mishandle everything. So let this child talk to the teacher first. If the teacher does not respond, I will go with my child and we both talk to the teacher about this child. And this child will ask, can we meet their parents? Can we find out what is bothering this child? Can we minister to this child? And in the end, the two can become very good friends. And what have I modeled for my son? I've modeled for him that every person who seems to be attacking you, or any person who seems to be bothering you, has a heart somewhere. They're pain, they have a heart, they're hurting, or there's something that's causing them to behave that way, and they need help. And so this child will grow up knowing that before I attack this person back, that's not the first. Actually, fighting is a natural instinct. You don't even have to teach it. That's what I wanted to tell you, Sheilah. Your child, you need to
instantly fight.
Yes.
Back.
So your purpose is to equip them to do the hard stuff, because the fighting back is, you don't even have to tell her to do that. So you have to actually teach her that. Before all this, let's see how to help this person and then turn them over to ourselves or to Christ. And I believe that way we will have raised a generation that's going to be a real flavoring for our country.
All right, you're watching One on One. My beautiful name is Sheilah Kahunde, and of course today morning I'm delighted and honored to have two beautiful ladies. They all do homeschooling, and of course we're talking about parenting, and of course, you know, instincts come in whereby you're a mother and how are you supposed to train up your child. Well, sometimes they say a bad kid is always, you know, is the kid that will always tell them, always say, hey, it's your mom that, you know, taught you that. But let's go for a very short break, and of course when we come back, something that we want to talk about more, ladies, is about these slow learners, the babies that, you know, like literally they are slow in learning. The both of you are doing homeschooling. I do not know how, you know, when I bring you my kid and this kid is a slow nana, how will they be helped out? So we're going to talk about that when we come back from a short break. Let's take a short break, and of course when we come back we'll be talking more about parenting. And of course it's interesting how these ladies, you know, even we never stop learning. They're definitely teaching me on how to parent my little one, but not to tell her to go to fight, but to see how, you know, we can work things out. Let's take a short break, and of course when we come back we'll be talking more about parenting.
Get your favorite health tips right here on U24. Maintain your kidney by drinking 8 to 10 glasses of water each day. This can be in form of soup, tea, water, cooked grains, and boiled vegetables.
Hello, my name is Erica Murunchi and welcome to Be Inspired by Erica. So today I want to talk about personal hygiene. Personal hygiene is not just a habit, it is a way of life. By maintaining personal hygiene, you will reduce stress, improve on your focus, show respect for yourself and others around you, to the people around you. Take care of your space and your life. Keep your room tidy, wash your hands, cut your fingernails, comb your hair, brush your teeth, and many others. Take care of your space and your life. Brush your teeth, make your bed, bathe, cut your fingernails, comb your hair, and many others. Make cleanliness a
Hi, my name is Doreen Tuhidire, coming to you from Be Money Wiser, and we're going to be bringing to you the hashtag 100 Ways to Be Money Wiser by Mrs. T. Tilda Nabandra. We're going to be running this hashtag 100 Ways to Be Money Wiser on U24 television. Don't miss out.
U24. Don't miss on U24.
Entrepreneurs Hub, giving you a deep and unique insight into agribusiness, services, ICT and innovation, industrialization, and so much more. Entrepreneurs Hub, growing your small, medium, and large business entity. With yours truly, Sheilah Kahunde.
Youth of Purpose.
All right, welcome back from that short break, and of course I'm honored and delighted to have two beautiful ladies, but also to keep the show moving, of course you have to have people that help you out. So big up to my producers, Sherry and Tyson, and of course Hafiz. Thank you so much for making sure that I look this beautiful. Well, my mom, I was talking to my mom when we went for a short break, and she told me, oh my God, you look beautiful. I'm like, wow, a parent is still a parent is a parent. Like at my age, my mom is still, you know, complimenting me how I look. I'm like, okay, today I'm going to walk when my collar is up, and I'm going to be like, I'm going to tell Deb, yes, my mom is said that I'm looking beautiful.
It's called filling your emotional cup.
I'm going to tell Deb when we get off the show. My mom told me I feel beautiful, but as well, Deb had already complimented me, Andrina, this morning, that you look beautiful, but thank you so much, ladies.
Yeah.
Before we took a short break, we're still talking about parenting.
Yes.
And of course, in parenting, we have children that are kind of slow learners. The both of you are teachers, and you have experienced this. And also the parents out there that feel, my kid is a headache. Those kinds of parents who wake up and say, this cheap baby. Like emotion.
Yes.
You see that they are strained, and I don't know what could be the best way of talking to our children. I'll start with you, Renee.
Yeah, I think we have 4 children, and they are all very, very different from one another, completely different. And I think some children are more challenging to us than other children. One of my girls is exactly like me. And so she is very easy to parent because I know what she's thinking, I know how she's reacting. One of my daughters is very different from me, and so that is more challenging. It takes more work on my part to understand where she's coming from and how to parent her appropriately. And so I think as we're with our children, one of the best things we can do for our children is pray for them. Because as I pray for my children, whatever you invest time in, you grow to love. And so if I invest time in prayer, if I invest time in parenting, then as I invest that time, I grow in my love, and I also grow in my understanding, because God reveals to me more of, this is how this child is wired. This is how this child is made. And I think with our children, some of them, they have different strengths. They have different abilities. So some of my children are really good at this, and some of my children are really good at that. They're not exactly the same. And so I think part of parenting is identifying each child has strengths. Each child has gifts. They may not be my gifts. They may not look like the things that our society values. I think of my husband. He is extremely gifted in like he can see something in his head and make it come to life in the real world. He can see something and create it. I don't have that ability, and that's not an ability that was prized in school. But he is very talented in that way. And so I think as we go through life with our children, we need to be studying them and asking God, what are the things that you have gifted my child with? My number 3 daughter, she has so much personality. Sometimes it's exhausting to me. I'm like, there's just so much energy. There is so much life there. But when she goes into a situation, she makes friends so easily because she is so enthusiastic. Yeah, she's loving, and she's so interested in you, and she wants to hear all about your life, and she makes friends wherever she goes. She's never met a stranger. She's like, hi, you're only a stranger because I haven't met you yet. My name's Faith, and who are you? And she draws people out, she draws people in. That is a gift that God can use for His glory if I don't squelch it, because sometimes I'm uncomfortable of, these are the seventh people that you've met today. I'm tired. So I think that's part of parenting, is to study our children, to come to understand how God has gifted and created them, and to come see that as a blessing and a gift, and ask God, how are you going to use this for the good of the world, for the good of your kingdom? How are you going to use this child? Because He has plans for every single one of them.
All right, Teacher B, let's talk about the slow learners. I don't know, there's a term that you are using. They're not slow learners. We used to have here, he was my teacher, and of course he was my mentor, and here I am, I came and found him here, the late Ballet Francis. The ladies on the road at night, they're called prostitutes, but guess what he would tell us to call them? No, they're not called prostitutes, they're called ladies of the night. So the same way I would say they are not slow learners. Maybe to us we think they are slow learners. What term do they call these babies, and how can you talk about it briefly?
Thank you, Sheila. These children that you're saying are slow learners are a passionate they are passionate. I'm passionate about them. They are a passion of mine. They are, maybe what I want to clarify is that they are not called slow learners.
Yes. Please give us
They
a term
are
of
the
how we can.
neurodivergent.
Oh.
Neurodivergent means that, okay, the other opposite of neurodivergent is neurotypical. Neurotypical means you kind of follow the usual prototype system that has been set up. By 2 years, you're supposed to be running. By 4 years, you're supposed to be
Eating,
yourself,
walking,
and
yes.
Yeah, that's neurotypical. Then the neurodivergent are the ones that will not follow that kind
routine,
of milestone development system. And that's okay. It is not a problem. It is just a difference. But the challenge is that our world has been set in such a way that it simply only caters for the neurotypicals, especially our education system. I want to talk about the education system when in relation to the neurodivergent child, the child who thinks differently, the child who grows differently, the child who does not fit the box or fit the general mold. So this particular child, the neurodivergent child, is amazing because the percentage of neurodivergent people in this world, about 20% to the 80% of the neurotypicals. But now, of late, the percentage is actually growing. There is a reason why. Because the neurodivergent children or the neurodivergent people are usually the ones that create the new things that we need for our world to grow. They don't think inside the box like everybody else. They completely break the box. They're out of the box. They are not very easy to parent or to fit into a certain mold. And so parenting them and taking care of them needs a whole different rule book, not yet created. That's where me and my friend Renee come in, because we are planning to start an organization called the Kahunde Foundation. That foundation is going to set up workshops, trainings. We are going to be online. We're going to be talking about this, the neurodivergent child. How do you work with this child? How do you bring out the gifts inside of them? My son is exceptional. He started reading at 2 years. He was reading words. He was speaking and reading words. And by 3, he could read at literally like grade 1 level. But guess what? He was not chewing solid food. He could not chew solid food.
Wow.
But he would speak, he would watch a small documentary and say it back to you word for word, exactly the way it is. He would read a book and say it back to you word for word, exactly the way it is, and even do the voices and everything. He would sit down and read, do any work quickly. But tell him to write. Ask him to tell you offhand, he will tell you. But tell him to write, he will not do it. He will say, I am so tired, my hand cannot move, I cannot. Then ask him to eat meat. Give him anything solid. He said, no, Mom, I can't. He will swallow it the way it is. It was so painful. People told me, just force him, beat him. They told me so many things. None of them worked. I realized my child was different. He was neurodivergent. I said, wow, this is a gift. And even on my Instagram account, I put one of my catchphrases is, proudly neurodivergent mom. I am honored to be a mom of one of those rare. If you look at Albert Einstein, he was neurodivergent. Look at Thomas Edison, he was neurodivergent. There are so many extreme sports athletes, people who do extraordinary things. Usually, most of the time, it comes easily to the neurodivergent because their brains do not work the same way that the neurotypicals do. Why? Because God created them to be the world changers, to be the ones to nudge us out of our routine, boring routine. Most of us we lack the routine. That's why our education system is set in such a way that it has a certain kind of routine. The neurodivergent child will sit in class for 5 minutes and they need to get up and move. And if you don't give them that break, they will not understand. They won't understand what you're saying. And yet, that idea that has come to their mind that's making them restless, it keeps running and running and running. I have a friend of mine who tells me, he's also neurodivergent. He says, he's very musical, extremely musical. He tells me, when I get a tune in my mind, I cannot shut it off. I cannot eat. I cannot talk to anybody. I cannot sit still. I need to get a keyboard. I need to go to the studio and play it out, play it out. He's an amazing producer, music producer. He will play it out until it's just right. He tells me, I use Fruit Loops, I use all these things, I don't know what they are, but he's like, he can create the most amazing music. But then, the time when the idea comes to him, at that point, he's different. You try to talk to him about anything, tell him, come and do schoolwork, let's do, he'll give you, the attention he gives you is not him. Because at that point, there's an idea, there's something new that has come into his mind, and it must come out. And when you shut that down, you're losing out on something beautiful. People who have created amazing buildings, people come up with the new education systems, people who have created songs that are out of this world, artists, they most likely have the mind that thinks different. Neurodivergent means differently. And so these children need a system. What I do at my home school is a system I put in place that allows both the neurodivergent and the neurotypical to have an amazing day that is full of activity and work. So every 40 minutes of a lesson, we have a break of 10. That's how it is. And the little ones, actually, they do play-based learning. Our learning is, if we are learning about sounds, for example, you're learning about the sound, we shall not sit and write it first. We shall go out into the sand and play in the sand pit and make shapes out of the sand. We shall get salt, as you hear this. We get salt and then we make a snowman, and then we will get a silk scarf and put it around and get a stick and make the hands, and then we will tell the story of Sandy Sunfish or the singing sunflower. I've come up with actually stories that have those sounds, and then we'll make songs about it. By the time we are sitting down to write the sound,
They have learnt it in their head.
thank you. But then when you just make the child sit still, you're catering to only one learning style, which is the audio learner, the visual learner, and there are so many different types. There's the tactile kinesthetic kind of learner who only learns by doing. That's the percentage that we are neglecting. And these are the creatives that we have. These are the ones that are going to come up with the new things that we need for our world. Someone said that the Western world gives their neurodivergent YouTube channels. For us, we give our neurodivergents, we take them to mental health institutions. We lock them up. We push them out of the way. We put them in a corner, naughty corner. Sit, keep quiet, don't disturb. And we are shutting down the biggest minds that we can have. Thomas Edison shared his experience, and he said his teacher sent home a note and told him, take this note to your mom. Just don't read it, just take it home to him. He couldn't even read at that time, he was really young. And so his mom read it and said, oh. So Thomas said, Mommy, what did my teacher say? And the mom said, oh. She said, you are so amazing and you're so brilliant, and from now on, I get to be the one to teach you because you are so outstanding. She wants you to have the best education. So he said, oh, that's good. So he stayed home, she homeschooled him from then on, and that man grew up to create the light bulb. You know, he grew up to be so creative and so different. It is only when he was really old and he was packing up his mother's stuff when the man passed away that he found that old note that the mother had kept in one of the boxes. And guess what it said? That's when he read it at that point. He was an old man. He had come up with so many inventions at that time. And the note said, your son is impossible to teach. He is not brilliant, and I cannot teach him anymore. Don't bring him back to school. But the mother was brilliant enough to change that narrative for this boy. And that is what we parents are supposed to do. That's why we homeschool, not because our children are neurodivergent, but because every child is different. Look at these 5 fingers.
They're not the same. Yeah.
Why?
It's
Together they make a
fist.
And if we're all the same, the world will be such a boring palette, I think.
Yes, true.
So allow each of your children to express themselves. I have learners at my home school who are dancers. If you use music, they will learn everything. I tell them to sit down, they will fidget, scratch, they will pinch up. So we use music as well. And then we use art. My son, Brave, is an artist. Whenever he feels frustrated about something, he says, Mom, can I draw? If he's not able to talk to me, he draws it out. And it's, Mom, I drew for you something. And we look at his drawings. They are amazing for a 6-year-old that he is. So you teach your child different ways of expanding the gifts God has given them. And as they grow, God will guide you. Most importantly, as parents, turn to the Lord. He is the creator of this child. The owner, the manufacturer of a product is the one who knows how it works best. Do not guess. Do not take the advice of people who tell you, beat this child, chase this child, just be tough on this child, crush them, make them fit the... Why should they fit the box? They're different. They're meant to bring new things to this world. Allow them to bring out these new things, and our world will be a better place for it.
Now, really, Brenda, you said it all, and I'm really touched. And I think somehow, somewhere, also my baby kind of fell into, the special children. But later we learned. But now she's come out to be a very sharp girl, and that's an eye opener to some of us, the parents who did not know that these kids are not called what did I term special slow learners. Thank you very much. So I have learned about that. And now, Rini, as we get closer to closing up our show, what could be your beautiful words to the viewers out there, most so in the world of parenting, if you look into that camera?
I would say the best thing you can do for your children is to love them well, to give them your love, give them your care, give them your concern, your time. They are not a burden, they are a blessing. And I think that is the mindset we need to have as parents. My children that God has given to me are a blessing, and I am going to love them with the love that He gives to me. I am going to support and encourage them. I am going to work so that they can become everything that God intends them to be. They can be a blessing to the world with the gifts that God has given them. And I think that that's to pray for and to love your children well and to view them as blessings. If you haven't been doing that, I would encourage you today to look at your children and say, this is the blessing that God has given me. And if you think that way, it will transform your parenting.
All right, thank you so much, Rena. Brenda, in just a few words, when you look into our camera, what can you tell our parents out there when it comes to parenting as we do close up this beautiful show?
I would like to say that in Africa, most likely, mostly in Uganda, I think most of us parent out of fear and out of financial strain and out of worry. We parent from a point of stress. A friend of mine told me, actually I remember it was Renee herself, she told me, so many people I've met look, seem and feel sleep deprived. We are sleep deprived as Ugandans. We do not sleep well, and we sleep short hours. We are always hustling, looking for the next meal. We live hand to mouth, and because of that, my husband calls it the poverty mentality. It has affected the way we parent, the way we raise these children. Even if you would have been kinder or more patient with your child, you find yourself impatient with them. They've got a packet of flour, they've poured it on the ground, and they are making shapes with their fingers. And yes, they look like what they're doing is nice. They are learning, they are experimenting, they are growing. But because it was the only packet of flour that you had to make chapatis for the next 2 days for the family dinner, wow, the response will not very easily be a good one. And because of that, we will end up crushing and crushing our children and forcing them to lose the giftings God has given them. So my last word, or my word of wisdom would be, please trust yourself to the Lord. Fathers, mothers, you're not competing against anyone to impress anybody. Your children are not meant to impress the world that, oh, so-and-so's children are so and so. That's what makes us feel, how will they look when they see my child is doing this? How will they feel? How will the world, view me? How will my child survive in life? That child belongs to God. That child is loaned to you. But that child belongs to God. In our language we say, Tuzala mibiri. Tuzala mibiri means we give birth to the bodies, but the spirit, the breath of life inside that child belongs to God. Even the same applies to your wife and your husband. Treat them with care, treat them with love. Do not come from a place of pain. Do not come from a place of stress when you are parenting. If you feel, learn to self-reflect and realize that when you feel that you are coming from a place of pressure, this child has come, got in your car and scratched with a stone. I love mom. Drawn her heart and said, Mama, Daddy, I've drawn for you. And they've scratched the car. The paint, you're thinking about, how am I going to repaint this? What am I going to get the money from? They've done something really annoying, but from a place of love. Take a step back. Regulate yourself and ask the Lord to guide you. Let's say, Lord, Holy Spirit, this is what I always do. Holy Spirit, help me. Holy Spirit, let me say the right thing. And the Lord will answer you. The Lord will help you parent these children because they are His. and they're only launched to you. Let's be good stewards, and God will help us.
All right, thank you so much, ladies, for coming through. It was really nice, and I've really learned a lot about parenting, and I'm going to take it back and use it to my little girl. Thank you so much for being part of this beautiful show. We do this every single Saturday. Now, a lot has been said about parenting, but basically also we need to have scriptures to lead us through. But I hope you've picked, a leaf from what these beautiful ladies have said. And parenting is broad and big. And remember, these kids are not with the special needs anymore, but they have a term that they use. And of course, every kid is a blessing. And don't look at your kid and say, this kid is not a blessing, but every kid is a blessing. Thank you so much for being part of this show. We do this again next week, same time. Of course, Fresh and Clean is coming in with some new music now. If you want to listen to some new music on the blog, well, this is a place you have to do, is like tune in for Fresh and Clean. They'll be playing for you some of your beautiful music. But also remember, 2025, 2026, the vote is in your hands. We'll be going to the polling stations to vote. And guess what? We'll be giving you every single update of the elections right here on U24 and UBC TV. And also, we'll be moving with the president. Whenever he goes, we'll be letting you know. And we'll be having live feeds of where the president is and what the people should expect from him. Thank you so much. Stay blessed. We do this again next Saturday, same time. Of course, with me, your girl, Sheilah Kahunde.
Get your favorite health tips right here on U24. Maintain your kidney by drinking 8 to 10 glasses of water each day. This can be in form of soup, tea, water, cooked grains, and boiled vegetables.
Hello, my name is Erica Murunchi and welcome to Be Inspired by Erica. So today I want to talk about personal hygiene. Personal hygiene is not just a habit, it is a way of life. By maintaining personal hygiene, you will reduce stress, improve on your focus, show respect for yourself and others around you, to the people around you. Take care of your space and your life. Keep your room tidy, wash your hands, cut your fingernails, comb your hair, brush your teeth, and many others. Take care of your space and your life. Brush your teeth, make your bed, bathe, cut your fingernails, comb your hair, and many others. Make cleanliness a habit. Personal hygiene should be a priority. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Stay blessed. Much love. Thanks for watching.
Hi, my name is Doreen Tuhidire, coming to you from Be Money Wiser, and we're going to be bringing to you the hashtag 100